This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you may have missed this morning, but we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 18th of November 2021, and I am Tuje.
I'm Tom.
And I am GK. In case you missed the headlines, here they are. In the Daily Nation, prisons purge. In the Standard, Tembe responds to Sonko's tape. In the Star, Raila, Kalonzo, Gideon to attend Jubilee NDC. Lucky them. In the People Daily, prison's boss takes a fall for prison break.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So today I want to look beyond the individual headlines and draw our attention to some of the more absurd events that have taken place in the country recently. November 15th, 3 prisoners escaped from Committee Maximum Prison.
Yeah.
These 3 men who were serving jail time for various terror-related offences. One was arrested in 2012 over an attempted attack on Parliament. Another found guilty of involvement in the 2019 Garissa attacks. And the third was arrested in 2019 for trying to enlist in the Al-Shabaab. These are not your average prisoners. One day later, November 16th, 2 bombs go off in neighboring Uganda, in the capital no less. Later, the Islamic State took responsibility. All the while, this is happening during a visit from the US Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, to Kenya. The purpose of the visit was to discuss democracy, the economy, and most importantly, Kenya's role as an anchor state amidst rising insecurity in the Horn of Africa. Then the story seemingly concludes, as it was announced today that the Committee 3 were found in Kitui, headed towards Somalia.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what any of these events mean, or if they're even related, but something to me doesn't feel right. At the same time, almost occurring in the parallel, the judiciary has been quite busy.
Oh.
On November 16th, we're introduced to #Sonko leaks, of whose content we will not discuss. But as Ms. K told us yesterday, these leaks should not be taken lightly. They are a blemish, a big one, on our judicial system.
Yeah.
So how do these revelations sit when today, the 18th of November, the judiciary sentenced DCI Kinoti to 4 months in prison, in committee in fact, which is absolutely laughable. I did not know it was possible for the judiciary to arrest the state. But I'm inclined to ask 2 questions.
Right.
If what Sonko said is true, then what games are the judiciary playing? But more importantly, this is a case of judges making decisions that are not enforceable.
Yes.
Do they really expect IG Mutyambai to arrest his colleague, Kinoti? Which reminds me of our dear friend Miguna.
Uh-oh.
It seems like the courts have been unable to unlock your deportation. Maybe that George Soros money can't fix everything. But what is my point? We are talking about the state of our security and the state of our judiciary.
Yes.
And here, there is something uniting all of these events. And still, these issues exist almost at 2 extremes.
Right.
On one hand, Uhuru Kenyatta will be remembered for how he has transformed all facets of security in Kenya and the region.
Correct.
But on the other hand, we have the judiciary on a rogue path. We have accused them already of being tyrannical, behaving like a power unto themselves.
Yeah.
And so we must ask, what happens when 2 opposites converge? In my view, this is answered by the unity of opposites in philosophy. The claim is that opposites can exist in reality if they're completely balanced.
Right.
But in this balance, one opposite is larger, stronger, or more powerful than the other.
That's correct.
So that in the event of imbalance, the stronger will dominate. Now, I think the more dominant force is quite obvious because the state is not a passive entity.
Yes.
So the question is, when are we going to fix these rogue elements?
Indeed.
Fantastic.
The law of unrelated things comes to mind. So today I shall also go on a slight tangent. Have you noticed that in the past couple of months, schools have been literally set on fire?
Yeah.
It is reported that about 39 schools have reported arson. A quick analysis regionally shows that 3 each in Nairobi and Rift Valley, a whopping 9 in both central Kenya and Nyanza, 2 in coast, 5 in eastern, 7 in Western, and 1 in Northeastern.
Yes.
We should be curious about timing. Why do schools burn just before elections?
Yes.
Now, back in 2016, the Fort Hall School of Government hypothesized about the burning of schools less than a year before the 2017 election. They used Aristotle's correspondence and coherence theory of truth to ask whether the information being given to the Republic about burning schools was logical and consistent. Did the truth measure up?
Right.
They concluded that we had not raised a nation of arsonists, and that the school fires at that time had their owners, and that these owners were not the students. More so, that the things that we think are unrelated are more closely linked than we'd imagine.
Yes.
So what are the odds that schools are once again burning with less than a year to the 2022 elections?
Right.
If these acts are not random, then we must ask the right questions.
Right.
Is there a scheme being executed, and what is its endgame?
Yes.
Is there a plan to continue the Kenya burning narrative? We saw this with stone throwing in Kondele, outbursts in Nyeri, escaping terrorists, as 2J has told us, that have been caught, burning of pro boxes sometime last year. And already some hustler lackeys have begun planting seeds that electoral reforms have either not been sufficient or that the deep state has plans to misengineer the election.
Yes.
And that 2022 will be a contested election. Could this be a form of rebooting Kenya's history? Perhaps conditioning Kenyans that should the outcome of 2022 not look a certain way, then the country should burn?
Whoa.
The ultimate question in 2016 and now in 2021 is who benefits from these school fires? The biggest beneficiary should be the prime suspect. Who benefits from a national crisis? Now, let us take note. Before the 2007 post-election violence, the scheme was executed in 3 phases. In phase 1, there was innocent protesting. We have a problem with IABC. In phase 2, there was deliberate provocation, where the innocent protests got clever owners. And in phase 3, because of this desired retaliation, there came instability. In politics, everything is related.
Correct.
This is a message to students from 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity.
Hey,
Take note of that.
Bishop GK. Today I will build on what I said yesterday. Paul Gisheru's case at the ICC and Karim's current position as ICC's prosecutor will be William Ruto's Waterloo moment. And I say this because why are 2 people who were once William Ruto's confidants seemingly fixing him now? But before I continue with my hypothesis, allow me to tell you a story. It's about a New York mafia mobster, John Gotti, aka Teflon Don, and his right-hand man, Sammy the Bull Gravano. John Gotti and Gravano ran the New York mafia scene like a nonsense. In fact, they ran the Gambino crime family, from narcotics to racketeering to running prostitution rings. Gotti and Gravano owned it. And if anybody got in their way, Sammy the Bull Gravano would handle it. In fact, for years, Gravano served as Gotti's chief muscle, brutally murdering anyone who crossed him. It is on record, but nobody could prove it. For as long as Gotti and Gravano worked together, not even the police could pin them down. Then in December 1990, the FBI raided the Rivernight Social Club in the Little Italy place, a part of New York, and arrested John Gotti and Sammy the Bull Gravano on racketeering charges. Once in custody, Gotti betrayed Sammy. Gotti tried to pin down the hits he had ordered on Gravano, claiming that Sammy the Bull Gravano was a mad dog who killed for his own benefit. Sensing an opportunity, the FBI recorded Gotti's testimony and later played tapes of these conversations to Gravano. Excuse me. Feeling betrayed, Gravano agreed to testify against Gotti in exchange for a reduced sentence. In March 1992, Gravano did just that. He testified against Gotti and others over the course of 9 days on the stand, revealing tales of racketeering and murder, 19 of which he said he was involved in himself, and 10 of which he said involved Gotti. With Gravano's testimony, the state was finally able to marshal enough evidence to convict the Teflon Don along with 40 other mobsters. Gotti got life in prison. Sammy the Bull Gravano got only 5.
Wow.
Gotti died in prison 10 years later. Sammy the Bull is out producing movies and documentaries.
What a life.
What's the point of my story here? If Charles Gisheru surrendered to the ICC, it is because someone was after him. If Charles Gisheru was Ruto's fixer at the ICC, he knows all the dealings he and Ruto may have had. And if Ruto has crossed him, then Gisheru's surrender at The Hague can now be explained. It is a classic prisoner's dilemma scenario. I do you before you do me. Just like Sammy the Bull Gravano, Gisheru will do a plea bargain, save himself, then implicate our favorite ghost worker for ICC witness tampering. Before you know it, just like Gotti, Ruto will wonder how he never saw it coming.
The ghost worker.
I know. Is that the title now?
Yep.
Well, guys, we have a 3-part criteria that we're going to use to break down the headlines. We're going to ask ourselves, is it topical or speculative, repetitive or groundbreaking, thoughtful or just plain lazy? I was very drawn to the prison's purge, especially because the president really came down hard from the top.
Yes.
Just to catch these guys. I'm sure we were all stuck in traffic at some point.
Absolutely.
Due to roadblocks and things.
I thought you liked it because of a prisoner's dilemma scenario.
We can give it to that too. Can we give it to the Daily Nation?
Yeah, I agree.
There you have it. Daily Nation gives us our winning headline. Now on to cartoons, where we also have a 3-part criteria. We ask ourselves, is it humorous or dry? Is it satirical or pessimistic? Is it effective or just plain lazy? Shall we begin with the Daily Nation?
Sure. In the Daily Nation, we have a drawing of a judge with a gavel walking under a cloud of pouring rain. And his umbrella seems to have a bunch of holes in it. Maybe it's hail.
Yes.
And above we have some clouds. And we have a caricature of Sonko looking quite stern.
Yeah.
And the cloud is called Sonko Leaks. And I guess it's because of the leaks that there are holes in the judge's umbrella. So of course this is because of the 5-part series of exposés that Sonko will be releasing into the bribery in the judiciary. CJ Kome actually responded and she said that the JSC will deal with the matter. And so we don't know how that will take place, but she said that they will do so.
Yeah.
But the thing about the JSC is that they have the power to remove a sitting judge, right?
Yeah.
However, can we actually trust them to punish or remove one of their own?
The thing
I don't
is,
think so.
The thing is, they do have a record. But you know what the point here is, too, Jay? Uhuru has been right all along.
Yeah.
If he had a dossier on these judges,
right?
And now we are seeing some
coming
stuff, and it's on audio and it's on video, he was right all along. And maybe, who knows, maybe Sonko is working for the deep state.
Hey, Sonko he's serving this tea hot. Let's pack that. In the Star, we have a caricature of a police officer at a maximum security prison. And he seems to be guarding what looks like a securely locked door. However, the officer has his foot under the door. And he seems to be allowing space for some escape. And the relevance obviously is, you know, they were caught after all, but they had this, you know, elaborate plan, made holes in the wall, all sorts of things. The funny thing I thought was they all escaped together in 3. Like, they didn't think to split up.
To separate,
and also, Kitui, Kambas and Secrets don't belong together, guys. I don't know if Kitui was the right place.
But I think it also helped that there was a 20 million...
was it 60?
It was 20 million per person.
Yeah. In total, 60 million.
In total, 60 million.
Anyway,
Do you think Kinoti will pay out?
Well, let me tell you, I don't care who he was, whether he was Kamba, they would have snitched. 60 million,
60 million
I'll take it.
I like that one. We can park it as well.
Absolutely.
What do we have?
The Standard, you have Gado and Raila Odinga is being showed. It's a caricature of Raila Odinga and Gado's favorite characters: the pig, the wolf, the vultures, the fox, and the faceless face. And he's being showed his list of running mates. Someone there is telling him they've offered themselves for you to pick as your running mate. Gado, man.
No, he does it.
Yeah, creative. This is
so pessimistic.
It's a nonsense cartoon.
Yeah.
Toss that one.
Nonsense, kabisa.
And finally?
People Daily, Star No. You have caricatures of Raila Odinga Musalia Mudavadi and William Ruto riding horses, but Ruto looks like a donkey. And the rest is the other candidates, Gideon Moi, Kalonzo, and the other
They're also
guys.
like not in the race.
They're not in the race.
They're facing the wrong direction.
They're facing the wrong direction, and that horse is done. It's done completely. And Musalia is saying, don't call it a two-horse race anymore.
But do you see Raila's horse has an orange,
Has an orange.
and Ruto's horse has a
Has a
wheelbarrow?
wheelbarrow.
I like that
So
one.
silly.
So guys, who do we give our winning cartoon? I'm leaning towards Daily Nation and this last one with the
People Daily.
Let's give it to Daily Nation.
Daily
Yeah.
Nation?
I mean, who would have thought
Sonko
that the
Daily.
person
Of
who would
all
have showed us the road in the judiciary
Is
was Mike
Sonko.
Sonko?
There you have
I
it.
mean, who would
Round
have
of
thought?
applause for him.
Yes.
There you have it. Daily Nation gives us our winning cartoon. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Find us on TV. We're on GoTV, Pancreas Air, and Star Times. But also find us on Twitter. Let's engage.
God bless.